Good morning. I'm Kristen Balasia, Head of Automotive Advisory at IHS Markit, and welcome to this edition of Fuel for Thought. Today, I'm joined by my colleagues Mark Boyadjis, Associate Director of Automotive Advisory, and Tawhid Khan, Research Director, SCT Innovations. And we'll be discussing the shift to a software-defined industry this morning. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello, thanks. Happy to be here.
Hello, Kristen. Thanks for inviting me. Good to be here.
Great. So, as you all know, we've spent the last 100 years or so in an industry really focused on sheet metal, rubber, plastic. While the industry has been distracted recently with the unprecedented pandemic and supply chain disruptions and multiple considerations and hefty investment, moving to an electrified product portfolio, quietly in the background, the business model is changing, and we'd be remiss if we didn't spend some time talking about the major shift of focus to software and the broader implications. So that's what we're here to talk about today. And Mark, why don't we start with you? When we say software-defined industry and vehicle, what does that really mean? We've had software in vehicles for decades.
Thanks, Kristen. When we talk about a software-defined vehicle, it's really about a combination of the evolution of the car itself and the evolution of the business of being in mobility, as you already mentioned. And it's important to kind of understand just how far-reaching software goes in the car and why it has such an important place in our future as an industry. The car today is already more based on code, ones and zeros, than it is on steel and aluminum and rubber. And so when we think about the vehicles of the future, we're striving as an industry to get more focused on OTA updates, provide better performance to the vehicles, provide customers with an ultimate level of customization and personalization, giving them subscription-based access, longer and deeper engagement models where you can have access to that customer on a repeat basis, on an ongoing, throughout the life of the ownership of the vehicle. And it's just fundamentally changing how a car is built, how it's designed, how it's sold, and how it's then serviced. And so again, software is that basis that has really moved the vehicle into what we have today and will continue to in the future. And as such, OEMs are getting smart and deciding that they need to see particular amounts of their investment go towards this, and they understand that their business models are going to shift. There's brand new revenue opportunities because we might be capped at a sales rate in the future. So how do we make sure that we can continue to grow as a company, right? This is what the OEMs are asking. And it even comes down to how the vehicles are priced. You go to the market today, if you're in the market for a new car, a lot of times software is what's enabling certain features, and it can affect your pricing on an MSRP level. So it's really pervasive, and it's not just about design and engineering. It's really throughout the entire vehicle life cycle, from start to finish and aftermarket and service.
Mm-hmm. And these investments that you mentioned, Mark, these are being made because the industry sees a risk of not doing so, but they also see the massive opportunity that will come with software enablement and capabilities. What does that look like, Tawhid?
Thanks, Kristen. It's an interesting question. And to give you a revenue opportunity and the context of this case, automotive software will become a $43 billion market by 2030, based on our market study and the survey. The compound annual growth rate is 8%, of which the lion's share is due to software validation and integration efforts. The cumulative software spending between 2019 and 2030 is predicted to be $390 billion. Now, growth in software, both in terms of application development and software system validation, is primarily driven by autonomous vehicle technology development, which requires advanced software functionality, such as the data and sensor fusion, deep machine learning using the neural network system, and intelligent object detection and ranging. Software development around connected car is also growing, especially as the industry is engaged to solve challenges in the app developer ecosystem. Just to give you an example, automotive suppliers have spent an average 3% of their net sales in software R&D between 2017 and 2020. Now, the growth was impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic between 2020 and early 2021, when the automotive industry went through a major shutdown. However, in coming years, we will see a growth again, and we by 2025 we will see a full speed of that investment. So overall, if I summarize, the industry, the software growth is second to power electronics, because most of the car companies are spending on electric vehicle today, but the focus will shift from this to software in midterm.
And maybe give some examples from a customer perspective of what we're going to see when and from who. And, some are publicly shared and cited, some, they're our analysis and kind of expert view of maybe who are leaders. Everyone talks about Tesla obviously being a very early comer to this end-to-end capabilities. What are we seeing other OEMs doing, and how will a customer see it?
Right, right. Yeah. To give you the context, you may have heard many statements from likes of Audi, Daimler, Ford, that going forward, software will be the key decision point for new vehicle development programs, not the hardware or vehicle dimension size as we know today. And Mark also alluded to that. They have concluded that software is the true differentiator, and there are many rationales behind this strategy, um, and to give, because of time, the few of them. The first one of them is the evolving architecture. The hardware consolidation is a growing trend in automotive industry now. OEMs are working towards a centralized system, i.e. moving away from one hardware, one function to one hardware, many functions scenarios. In technical terms, this is referred to as migration between distributed system to the domain-based system, and then in the longer term to a centralized control system. So why this is happening? OEMs are keen to reduce the weight of the vehicle so it can travel a longer distance with either a single EV charge or other fuel. They're also keen to increase reusability amongst the vehicle platforms. More importantly, reduce cost from a harness and system integration point of view. So with this approach, OEMs are trying to bring many functions under a single hardware using powerful computing processor in a high performance computing platform. So there will be only few HPCs or high performance computer with that will going to connect many functions that are distributed today. But this has a knock-on effect on software, right? First of all, the function software needs to be developed. They have to be partitioned properly, and they have to be integrated so that it can work properly. And these are all effort. And end of the day, this is going to increase the level of complexity, and as a result, the key focus is on the software, because to improve the efficiency of the vehicle. OEMs are also looking at the digital services. OEMs are keen to exploit the software services and generate new revenues. Mark pointed that out to his questions, to his answer, sorry, out of digital services, and their ambition is to increase product offering and move their business model from product to solution services. This is nothing new. Other industries are doing it. Car industries are just behind. They are racing to catch up and keen to exploit this opportunity. Here, what OEMs are trying to do is looking at the model of subscription-based system on demand function, and second, to continuously upgrade the system without physical connection or relying on dealer network. Today, if you try to upgrade something, upgrade your vehicle, or you want to get a new the feature in your vehicle through software, it's quite cumbersome, and that's just not sustainable longer term. So car needs to be constantly connected and monitored and upgraded using the over-the-air software system. So consumer can buy and upgrade OEM, buy this upgrade, and OEM can push the upgraded software using cloud technology. This way, both OEM and consumer improve their efficiencies by less reliance on the dealer. This is, however, requires a new approach to software. Again, the strategies required for the new software architecture, and OEM are putting their the focus onto this. The other thing is obviously very important is OEMs are desperately want to develop a lifetime direct relationship with their customer. If you look today, when car leaves the forecourt, they don't want to, they don't know what customer and what doing with their product and how they're using it, but they don't want to do that in future. They want to continue relationship with their consumer, which is because there are going to be a lot of touch points through software upgrades or new services that are available to the consumer. So they will have continuous communication, data collection on the internet side of the world. The device and in our case, the vehicle will stay in permanent contact with its environment. The vehicle owner and the manufacturer will going to need to build this, what I call the internet kind of relationship and internet kind of communication relationship. And the data and insight of those interactions will result in continuous innovation over the lifetime of the vehicle. That is really kind of a nice way for true relationship between a car manufacturer and their consumer, something we see every day with mobile phones or laptops and other consumer electronics. And OEM truly believe this will work for automotive industry. At least Tesla have shown everyone that it works. This also helps to reduce cost. We may see more continuous upgrade as opposed to model year upgrades. So to me, these are the whole strategic reason that we see the importance of software.
And you've covered so many aspects of this, and certainly the OEM investments and efforts towards this are massive. And Mark, when you think about, but they don't do this alone, right? When you think about other considerations, when you talk about services, when you talk about tech enablement, when you talk about the resources required to make a change of this nature, Mark, what are the implications for other players in the automotive ecosystem, maybe outside of OEMs? And what are all of the other, or some of the other key success factors that we should be thinking about?
Right. So to put it bluntly, hiring talent and enabling either directly sourced or in-house software capabilities is of utmost strategic concern. And I mean, you look at the last 5 years and the amount of announcements made of this OEM acquiring this business unit of this company for their 5,000 software engineers. This company starting this JV with this tech firm for development on this piece, and it's fascinating because the the most sought after job description right now in the automotive industry is around software, because that's, again, to the point Tawhid has made and what I introduced, is that's the momentum of the industry. And so whomever owns the capability and the capacity to develop the software required for the vehicles of the future, I mean, they're going to be in the best position to win. And OEMs and suppliers are looking to bring that in-house for strategic reasons. I think if you look at the OEM angle, they're very much interested in bringing in because it allows them to speed to market. From a supplier perspective, it allows them to scale. And both strategies have their merit, but increasingly we see the vertical orientation of some of these software elements being very, very important to the OEMs. so that they can flip on a dime. I mean, we said Tesla 4 times now, I think. Just look at how they were able to respond to the semiconductor crisis. Within a matter of weeks, they were able to reprogram their core software systems, work on different hardware to secure a supply chain. Whereas a traditional OEM could only dream of that speed. And that's the kind of capability that OEMs want to have in-house. And you mentioned other players. Unfortunately, the automakers don't have them. Today, most of the software talent exists in the tech industry. And so that's why you see either partnerships or out and out, acquisitions and investments where, where that software talent's being organized in a more structured manner.
So I was going to ask you guys as a final question, what do you see as the biggest challenges to this shift? But I feel like we've kind of answered that, right? It sounds like there are a lot of expensive and energy consuming activities that the OEMs are going to have to focus on. So I'm going to ask you a different question. I'm going to ask you each, what are you most, I'll say as a customer, car driver, what are you most excited about when all of these capabilities come to fruition and you have all these great offerings and services and capabilities available to you? Tawhid, I'll start with you, and then Mark, what can you not wait for to be able to do with your vehicle and your OEM?
Well, to me, I would like to get my vehicle to be more personalized, and I'd like to see the digital experience that I have in my home environment, bringing it to car. And that's the beauty of it. The world is interconnected today. The car should be part of it. It's not just a standalone devices anymore. So I'm quite excited to see that my future car can talk to my fridge. It can be able to communicate saying, hey, I'm run out of milk. Can you just order it? And the car e-commerce platform can automatically order to, in UK, we have Asda and Tesco. Or for an example, I never get ran out of fuel because the car automatically figure out that it only got 10 miles and it can be able to contact the fuel gas station and sort out everything for me. So that's what, as I said, proactive interconnection is something I'm looking forward and I'm excited about.
Very good. Mark, what about you?
So I like Tawhid's answer, but I have to be honest, I want my next car to have a split personality. And what do I mean by that? Well, on the weekdays when I'm getting my kids to school and I'm picking up groceries and I'm being a dad, I needed to do the things that I needed to do on those days and be really efficient at it. But, sometimes I want to take my car and I want to experience it differently. Maybe I'm taking a road trip. Maybe I'm, enjoying a twisty, turny road. And software is the underpinning to enabling that. And I've seen it in certain cars today, but I really think that that is a huge opportunity for car makers and service providers of the future, is to give people a single vehicle that they either own or subscribe to, but then give them a multitude of experiences that they can turn on at the flick of a button on a touchscreen. And maybe do it at a paid business model. Of course, I'd like it included, but that's maybe a discussion for another time.
That's great. Both great answers, and I think a lot of people would agree with both of you. So with that, I want to thank you, Mark and Tawhid, for your time and joining me today. We'll be back with more Fuel for Thought next month. To opt into our newsletter that provides more information on this topic and others, please visit ihsmarket.com/auto newsletter.